Hello everyone. Today, we're going to explore a fascinating story about a lazy boy, but a very smart one. This isn't just an entertaining tale, it's also packed with meaningful lessons about personal growth, overcoming hardship, and most importantly, how to defeat laziness. In this story, the main character is a boy named Ryan, known throughout the village for being lazy. However, his laziness led him to develop creativity and a different way of thinking. Instead of doing things the hard way, Ryan always found smarter and easier methods to complete his tasks with minimal effort. But when life threw him a real challenge and he had to take responsibility, Ryan proved that even a lazy person can do extraordinary things when driven by the right motivation. This story isn't just a modern-day fairy tale. Today's video is also a great opportunity for you to practice English. Throughout Ryan's journey, we'll learn new vocabulary, see how to use those words in sentences, and practice communicating in a natural, memorable way. So, don't take your eyes off the screen. Stay with us until the end to enjoy this inspiring story while improving your English in a fun and effective way. Let's get started. Once upon a time, in a peaceful little village, there lived a boy named Ryan with his parents in a small house at the edge of town. Ryan was not like the hardworking children around him. He was well known for being lazy, always looking for ways to avoid hard work. Every day, he helped his father guard the rice field, but his only job was to scare away the birds that came to destroy the crops. While others used sticks or slingshots to chase the birds, Ryan didn't want to stand up or run around. He hated getting tired. Instead, he came up with a smarter idea. He set up wooden poles around the field and connected them with strings. Whenever birds flew in, he could simply pull the string from afar, causing the whole field to shake, which scared the birds away. That way, Ryan could lie down and still get the job done. Ryan's father was a bit worried about his son's laziness, but he didn't complain much. After all, Ryan still got the work done in his own way. Still, deep down, the father had one lingering concern. If one day I fall ill, will Ryan be able to take on everything? The real story begins here, when fate puts Ryan to the ultimate test. Everything was going as usual until one summer when a long drought hit the village and not a single drop of rain fell. Around the same time, Ryan's father suddenly became seriously ill. He could no longer work in the fields, and all responsibilities now fell on Ryan's shoulders. At first, Ryan tried to mimic what his father used to do, watering the crops, checking the field, chasing away birds, and taking care of the rice. But since he had never done any heavy work before, his body quickly gave out. He wasn't used to waking up early, standing in the scorching sun, or carrying water from the well to the field. Gradually, the rice plants began to wither due to lack of water. The once green fields turned dry and barren. Ryan could only watch helplessly as the crops died, unable to do anything. He felt useless and disappointed in himself. That night, sitting alone under a sky full of stars, Ryan's heart was heavy. He blamed himself. Why didn't I try harder sooner? Now my family's only hope is gone. For the first time in his life, Ryan truly felt the weight of responsibility. It was no longer about finding tricks to avoid work, but about facing the big question: what will I do to change my family's future? The next morning, while sitting in the yard, feeling lost, Ryan heard a commotion from the village center. Curious, he walked over and saw a crowd gathered around a royal soldier. The soldier was loudly announcing a special contest to be held at the king's palace. The reward for the winner, a chest of gold, enough to change anyone's life. Ryan's eyes lit up. He immediately thought of his parents, the withering field, and the uncertain future. This might be the only chance I have to save my family. Without much hesitation, Ryan stepped forward and declared he would join the contest. The whole village fell silent for a moment, then burst into laughter. The laziest boy in the village wants to compete? How can he beat strong men from all over the kingdom? Despite the mockery and disbelief, Ryan remained determined. He didn't respond to anyone. Quietly, he packed his bags and left the village the next day, beginning his journey to the palace. His parents didn't have high hopes, but deep inside, they held a flicker of belief that this trip could change their son, win or lose. For the first time in his life, Ryan wasn't doing something to avoid work, but to do something truly meaningful. After 3 days of nonstop walking, Ryan finally arrived at the royal palace, where the big contest was about to begin. The area was bustling with hundreds of contestants from across the kingdom. They were all muscular, energetic, and full of confidence. Seeing them, Ryan began to feel nervous. He wondered, do I really stand a chance? When the trumpet sounded, the official loudly announced the first challenge: swim across a large lake. The first 3 to reach the other side would proceed to the next round. As soon as the signal was given, the contestants jumped into the water, splashing everywhere as they swam with all their might. Ryan, standing on the shore, didn't move. He knew he wasn't a good swimmer, and relying on strength alone would surely get him eliminated. Just then, an idea flashed through his mind. Ryan quickly ran into the nearby forest, gathered large branches, and tied them together to make a simple raft. Then, using a log as a paddle, he began to move slowly across the lake. While others started to tire out from swimming too long, Ryan steadily paddled forward. He wasn't fast, but he didn't waste energy. In the end, he was the 3rd to reach the shore, earning a spot in the next round. To everyone's surprise, Ryan smiled. Intelligence had triumphed over brute strength, and the contest had only just begun. The next morning, the 3 remaining contestants entered the final round, the challenge that would determine who would win the king's chest of gold. On the arena, each person was given a large, heavy block of wood. The task was simple but difficult: push the block a full kilometer. However, there was a twist. Each contestant could only choose one tool from a selection. The first person chose a thick rope to pull with. The second picked a long wooden bar to use as a lever. Both immediately got to work, using all their strength to move the heavy block. As usual, Ryan didn't rush. He stood quietly, thinking carefully. If I rely on strength, I'll surely lose. But if I change my approach, after a few minutes, he chose a small knife, a decision that shocked everyone. Instead of pushing, Ryan sat down and began carving the block into a round shape, turning it into a giant wooden wheel. At first, people laughed, but an hour later, when Ryan finished crafting his wooden wheel, the audience fell silent. He began rolling the wooden ball toward the finish line. While the others struggled with their bulky blocks, Ryan calmly but steadily passed them, becoming the first to cross the line. The entire arena erupted in applause. The lazy boy had won, not with strength, but with intelligence and determination. Ryan's resounding victory made his name known throughout the kingdom. People no longer called him the lazy boy, but rather the smartest boy. He didn't win through power or speed, but through cleverness, creativity, and above all, powerful motivation: the love for his family. Ryan didn't need to be the strongest. He became someone who thought differently and acted with purpose. He proved that lazy people aren't incapable of success. They just need a strong enough reason to change and try. It was the love for his parents and the desire to save the field that helped Ryan surpass his limits. Without that challenge, he might have still been lying in the rice field every day, pulling strings to chase birds, never discovering his true potential. Ryan's story also brings a meaningful message to English learners. When you have strong motivation, learning becomes easier and more enjoyable. Just like Ryan overcame laziness to win, you too can overcome boredom if you know why you're learning: for your future, for your dreams, or simply to better understand the world. Keep practicing every day, and you'll see, learning can be a journey to be proud of.